So this video is to demonstrate the matchings functionality in loco parentis. Matchings is a mechanism that tries to assist with the matching of households and students. So to give you an idea of what this system does, this is the student list. If I press this button on the right-hand side, which is marked Show Matching Households, it will take me to the Households page. And it opens up the extended filter and puts in that student on this box here. And then it shows me a number of values associated with each of these households. The values are all negative, showing that they have reasons for not matching this student with this household, and those are mostly based on transit time. At the moment in this particular company, there are 4 matchings in place. There is a transit time matching, there is a cats, a piano, and a dogs matching. So looking at this particular system, David Wang most matches, it's the least negative, with Pippa and John Radford, and that's based on distance. Looking at Sally and Roger Hunt, there is a value of -98, which shows that Sally and Roger Hunt are further away. Frida Easton has a transit time of -410, saying she's a good distance away from this student's school. It works out the distance between the house and the school. However, she has cats, and it looks like this student likes cats, so she actually scores -410 on transit time, but +10 on cats. Looking at Jem Winston, she is actually blocked, and she's blocked because of dogs, and presumably that means that David Wang is allergic to dogs, and this household has a dog. So let's see the details of how this is actually set up. If you go to the Preferences page and the Matchings tab, you can see the 4 matchings that were created for this company. And a lot of these are simply entered in English, so you don't have to program anything complicated. You simply type the details of exactly how you'd like the system to work. So for example, here on the cats category, if the household has cats, then if the student likes cats, then they get a weighting of the likes cats weighting, which is currently set to 10. If the student is allergic to cats, then it's a no match. And if the student doesn't like cats, then the weighting is the dislikes cats value, which is down here, currently set to -20. So you set these up in English, and our system at the back end will translate them. It can take up to 24 hours for that translation to take place. And if you modify the details, then again, you can be up to 24 hours before that actually takes place. Of course, if you just modify the likes cats business, and that is entirely set at your discretion, then that will go through straight away and does not need to be recompiled on the back end. So if I, for example, here set the likes cats weighting to 1,000, if we decided that liking cats was really important, and I save that again, then if I went back to the households page and I look at the matching, now Frida Easton comes up as -410 for the transit time, but +1,000 for cats, giving her an overall weighting of 590. So she's the clear favorite if it's based around cats. We would suggest, we provide no standard matchings. It's entirely up to you. We would suggest that as a bare minimum, you consider adding a transit time matching, and we would suggest that you set it up pretty much like this. So the transit time is based on the time it takes for a car to get from the school to the homestay in normal traffic. And so the waiting time penalty is -1 unit, so it's 1 penalty weight per minute distance from the household. And so if the household is half an hour's journey, then it would be a minus 30 waiting for transit time. You can set this up any which way you like. You could put distance in there instead of minutes, but of course 10 minutes across central London is a very different transit time to 10 minutes out in the countryside. So we would suggest that you stick to this one. This particular setting here is what happens if there's no school. So for example, if you haven't set up a school for a student, then it will show up as minus 999. You can set that to whatever value you like. If you don't have something there, then effectively, if the school is not set, then it will match on everybody based on transit time, which wouldn't be sensible. And so you can have whatever you want in here, and you access it via the Student tab, as I've shown already, but you can also access this via the Map tab. So on the maps, you can pick a school, and so for example here at Rugby School we seem to have 3 students, and once you pick a school, then if you pick a student, for example David again, I can show the matching households, and again those values will be shown here, and I could even pick a household. So if I think he's already in John and Pippa Radford's household, but I could add him to another household, and then I could go and add them at the same time. So that mechanism is already the subject of another video. So the matchings works either from the map page or from the students page, and effectively taking you to the households page. There are a few more bells and whistles that you can do. If you don't want to match on a particular category at some point in time, say for example you want to just see everything without the cats or the dogs and so forth, you can disable these, and then the matchings will be updated accordingly. So these weightings now don't include cats or dogs, and you can see that Frida Easton is now an option because cats and dogs are no longer included. So let's try and set up a new matching. The data that it uses for this matching is any data that is on the student information, the student data record here, including data from the enrollment tab. So for example, we have no field specifically here about whether they're allergic to cats or anything, or dogs. That would be company specific. But in the enrollment tab, we can ask questions when the student is enrolled, or indeed after the student is enrolled, we can update these questions. And then these are the questions that are going to be used in this particular case for matching. So for example here, does he play the piano is an option here. So if I get David to play the piano, so yes, he plays the piano, and we'll save that. If we then go to the households, you obviously need to get compatible questions asked here, but if I have a piano option here, yeah, so do we have a piano that the student can use? Yes, we do have a piano that the student can use. And then the matchings will change, assuming that I have the piano matching enabled. Yes, it is enabled, and we've got the weighting of plus 10. If I exaggerate this weighting again and make that 1,000, then if there's a situation where a student would like to use a piano and the household has a piano, then that will become visible here. And again, now the Radfords come out on top because they have a piano. So it's quite a powerful system, but it takes a bit of setting up. So first of all, you need to have matching, if you'll excuse the phrase, words and questions in the enrollment forms for both households and students, or at least fields that you know how to match on. So for example, it would be able to match on, you could ask a question in the enrollment, are you willing to take students under the age of 16? And then you could write a matching based on the age of the student. So we know the age of the student, we calculate that automatically, and you could set up a matching based on that. So pretty much anything that you can think of in terms of a matching, we can program to become part of a matching. So let's try and set one of these up, and we're going to add into the student enrollment form, we're going to add an option to ask for whether they can eat halal meals, or whether they require halal meals. So let's just have a quick preview of this, see where it might go. Let's just add it at the beginning. How is your child with cats? We'll add it after that. Details about the enrollment editors are the subject of another video. So here's the how is your child with cats. I'm going to add a line after that, and it's going to be a selector, and it's does your child require halal meals? And the answers I'm going to accept there are yes and no, and we'll leave it at that. So we're going to set up an equivalent question when we have on the household field. So here I'm going to add another question here for another selector, and can you provide halal meals? And obviously you could make this more comprehensive. You could ask, instead of can you provide halal meals, is what kind of meals can you provide, and you could provide vegetarian, vegan, halal, and etc. But we'll just keep it simple for the process of this demo. So I've got the relevant questions now in the, I need to answer yes or no. I've got the relevant questions now set up in the two forms, and were a new enrollment to be created, that would be built in and that would be asked. Of course, that information isn't there at the moment in the existing households or the existing students. So I'm going to set it up that Jem Wincham, if I go to the enrollment tab, she can provide halal meals. And I'm going to require of the students in David, I am going to require does David require halal meals? Yes. Now, at the moment, of course, there is no halal matching set up, so we're going to go back to the matchings page, and we are going to set up a halal matching. So this category is going to cause halal, and I'm going to simply say here, if the student requires halal food, then block unless the household can provide it. And I don't really need to put a weighting on this. I don't need any positive weighting if they can. I just need to block them if they can't. If the student requires halal food and the household can't provide it, then it's a block. So if I save this, you'll see that this is marked as pending. And if we pause the video here, then we will see what happens when that comes back. So the work has been done at the back end now, and I'm just going to go back and get rid of this crazy weight on matching pianos so that that doesn't confuse us. And I'm going to save this. So the halal matching has been written, and nothing's changed here apart from the fact that the pending flag is no longer set, which means that the back end has been completed. So it now says if the student requires halal food, then block unless the household can provide it. So if we now go back to our students, and if you remember, David requires halal meals. If I look at the matchings for David now, it shows me that Jem Wincham can provide halal meals because that's got a value of 0 there, but Pippa and Sally and Frida are all blocked, cannot provide halal food, and therefore there's no point in sending David there, who now requires halal food. So the system works quite well in terms of showing you exactly what's what, but it does require a bit of thought here. It also requires a bit of thought with regard to the values of the weightings. But if you start on the premise of 1 minute time delay is -1 on the matching weight, so if they're an hour's drive away, their weight penalty will be -60. Then you can probably work backwards from that to work out exactly what weightings you want on these other categories. We're very happy to help in the setup of this, because we appreciate that this is not an easy function to write. At least the only thing that you can say is that you only have to write it in English, and then it needs to be understood in English at our end. If you have any questions, please email or message us as usual. Thank you.